Joe Biden, I don't want to hear that $1.9 trillion is an amazing, sprawling bill. It's insufficient. Right now, you have 45% of the workers that have been laid off during coronavirus still have not gotten their jobs back. That's almost half of the jobs still not back. And I got news for you. Like during 2008, 2009, the financial crash, those companies, once, vaccinations are more thoroughly distributed, once we could get back to some economic normal, they're going to continue to do more with less because they are going to use the coronavirus pandemic as an excuse not to hire back the majority of their workforce and to squeeze even more juice out of the orange, which is the workers of America. So this is unacceptable. And frankly, I've been accused of being a Bernie bro and never criticizing Bernie. Well, I got something to say about that. I'm going to steal from Rising and just play the clip they played. This is what Bernie said in response to Biden essentially moonwalking now away from a $15 minimum wage.
Now, to be clear, he supports raising the federal minimum wage. He just thinks it's not going to make it into the final bill. You're the Senate Budget Committee chairman. Is President Biden wrong?
Well, I hope he is, Jake. As you indicated, the president supports the $15 an hour minimum wage. I do.
Stop Jake Tupperware right there. Jake Tupperware. This is this corporate framing. They're just stenographers for the powerful. He just thinks he's not going to make it into the final bill. What is this? The janitor? He just thinks it's not going to make it into the final bill. He's the president of the United States, for God's sakes. Stop carrying water for right-wing Republican Joe Biden. And I know what's coming, Jordan, but you voted for him. Yeah, I'm not going to defend my vote for the next 4 years. I stand by it. I gave you the reasons I did it. I told you, you vote for whoever you want. I never pushed you to vote for Joe Biden. I respected your vote. I don't voter shame people. If you chose not to vote for him, that's fine. I chose to vote for him because what I was seeing, the growing extremism at these rallies, and I'm never, and I still criticize Biden even after I told you I was going to vote for him. So I knew what was coming. This is not a surprise to me. I did it. I stand by it. And that's the end of it. But what's amazing here is this corporate framing. He just thinks it's not going to make it into the bill. If Joe Biden wants it into the budget reconciliation bill, it would be in the budget reconciliation bill. Do you think the CBO is going to go to war with the president to not have this into the budget reconciliation? I just showed you that the CBO officially said raising it to $15 minimum wage would add $54 billion to the federal deficit. $54 billion to the federal deficit, which is bullshit anyway, because modern monetary theory, it doesn't matter. We have the money. So the corporate media is pushing this nonsense that Biden has no agency here. Biden has no authority here. Biden has no muscle here. He just, they say he won big against Trump. Well, it's not a matter of he thinks it's not going to make it into the final bill. He's not fighting for it to be in the final bill. Bernie also, I have a bone to pick with. Bernie. So let me get something straight. Bernie gave Biden his endorsement, no questions asked, didn't demand for his endorsement. I'm not saying Bernie shouldn't have honored that he was going to endorse and support the Democratic nominee. That's what he said in the beginning of his second presidential run. He's an honorable guy, so obviously he was going to follow through. But there's something called negotiation. There's something called exerting leverage. He didn't need to come out exactly when he did to support Biden. He didn't need to do it as vociferously as he did throughout the election. He could have very well said, yeah, I'll endorse you right now. I want labor secretary. That's it. Or I'll endorse you right now. Guaranteed $15 minimum wage. If we take the Senate, put it through budget reconciliation. He didn't do those things, apparently. Biden passed him up for labor secretary. Now Biden is moonwalking away from the only thing Bernie apparently demanded from Biden, which was a $15 minimum wage. And frankly, this response from Bernie ain't enough for me.
You're the Senate Budget Committee chairman. Is President Biden wrong?
Well, I hope he is, Jake. As you indicated, the president supports the $15 an hour minimum wage. I do. A last poll I saw has 62% of the American people supporting it, because at the end of the day, we are in the midst of massive income and wealth inequality. People on top are doing phenomenally well, and yet we have literally tens of millions of Americans working for starvation wages. You cannot make it in any state in this country on $9 or $10 an hour. We've got to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I can tell you, as chairman of the Budget Committee, we have a room full of lawyers working as hard as we can to make the case to the parliamentarian that, in fact, raising the minimum wage will have significant budget implications and, in fact, should be consistent with reconciliation rules.
So let me get something straight. Why is it all this I think, we have an army of lawyers trying to make the case to the parliamentarian, whoever the hell that is? The Congressional Budget Office has already scored what a $15 minimum wage would do. They say it would add $54 billion for the federal deficit, which I don't really give a damn about, and you shouldn't either. Modern monetary theory will tell you we have all the money in the world for this. The debt, the deficit, it's all made up bullshit. We print money like we breathe. We print money for war in Afghanistan, Iraq, subsidies for Goldman Sachs, Pfizer, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, the tax cuts for the rich, the corporations. We could print money for a $15 minimum wage, no problem. But what's amazing to me about this is Biden is sitting here pretending like he has no responsibility in all this. He's got no agency authority in all this. We got to leave it to the parliamentarian. We got to convince the parliamentarian, Bernie says. Bernie, if you haven't gotten the memo yet, Donald Trump is out of office, and the Democratic Party is still fixated on Donald Trump. Instead of fixating on the economic gunshot wound that we're all suffering from, not all of us, but most of us, the Democratic Party's campaign strategy just came out. They want to run the midterm campaign on QAnon, on making Republicans extreme. How'd that work out when you focused on the Tea Party's extremism? This is what they want to focus on, Marjorie Taylor Greene and QAnon. I'm not saying Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't an extreme bat lunatic, and I'm not saying the Republican Party shouldn't feel the pain and be targeted politically for their extremism. But that's not going to help people put food on the table. It ain't going to help people make sure they don't have to decide between medicine or food for their kids. It's not going to help people avoid being kicked out onto the streets when the eviction moratorium is lifted, which nobody's talking about that in Biden's $1.9 trillion, sweeping $1.9 trillion that you see in all these corporate media write-ups. $1.9 trillion is not enough for the magnitude of the problem. And frankly, I'd like Bernie Sanders. You did your job. You helped Biden get elected. Now fight Biden publicly. He's already moonwalking away from $2,000 checks, which Bernie is now giving the Democratic line in interviews. Yes, it's a $1,400 plus the $600. Bernie, come on. You're better than this. I'm not going to go as far as some others calling you, sellout and Lucifer and all this. But Bernie, you've still got a massive movement behind you. Yeah, there's people who are mad at you. Whatever. You still got a huge movement behind you. Use that movement. Pressure Biden publicly. Shame Biden publicly. You're 79 years old. You don't know how much longer you're going to be able to serve in the Senate. And, the devil's advocates could say, well, Jordan, Biden's only been in there for 5 minutes. Why shouldn't Bernie take the diplomatic approach? Well, has history shown you that taking a diplomatic approach with the corporate Democratic establishment and Joe Biden is going to get you to the economic promised land? You think taking a diplomatic approach and saying, "Well, I hope Mr. President is wrong. I hope Mr. President. I hope that he's wrong." Bernie, say he's wrong. Say the Congressional Budget Office just scored it. It has a direct budget impact. They said the CBO says X, Y, and Z, so it fulfills the requirements that there be a direct budget implications, and there is no excuse for President Biden not to honor his core campaign position. And by the way, be clear, in Biden's interview with that corporate hack from CBS, he said he's open to negotiating that phasing in of the $15. It's already going to take till 2025 if it passed as law today. It's already going to take till 2025 for it to be $15 minimum wage. First, it would go from $7.25, I think, to $9.50, then to $11, and so on and so on. So now Biden is open to negotiating that insufficient phasing. He's open to negotiating the phasing in. So what are we going to get? A $15 minimum wage by 2040? Are you kidding? Bernie, what are you doing?
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.